Traveling to new places can be scary or exciting, but for these students, it's a challenge. These Hanover College cross-cultural students are studying abroad to practice what they've learned in class about communicating between cultures.
Those are known as polleras.
In Panama City, the class is learning about the origins of the multiple national histories that make up Panamanian history, starting with the history of the native Panamanians at the Museum of Plaza Mayor.
Here, students are seeing the pieces of history most shrouded in mystery, starting with the word Panama. The word comes from the extinct Cueva chiefdom with no written history of their language.
Panama in general is known to be actually a crossroad. So our main importance as a land is our geographic position, is our privilege, actually.
But a privilege can also be a curse.
Life for the indigenous people changed when the Spanish arrived in search of gold. The Spanish were the earliest and the most dominant group to colonize Panama, starting in 1501.
You can tell that was the only place in here enforced by a wall. Why you think it was enforced?
Pirates.
Logic. Because of the wealth that they stored in here. This was the main storage.
During this tour, we will show you the ruins of the commercial elites, convents. Church was a land of transit for gold and silver that came from the colonies all the way to Spain.
We have been able to go all the way up to the tower. Yes. To the very top of it. Yeah, for sure.
Stone is a scarce resource, but gave protection against invaders.
Panama has had a history of pirates coming to loot between these walls. Pirates, like Captain Morgan, ransacked the city.
And because there's no handrails, it's not really recommended.
And it's hard to imagine that 3,000 to 5,000 people live there. There's 7 churches.
But he finally achieved what he wanted to achieve since the very early 16th century, at mid-16th century. I'm going to
How'd you like the museum? In one word? Woohoo! Woohoo! Look at that. Monkeys?
Monkeys!
Two cute little monkeys on someone's shoulder, and they kind of look like they have mohawks. And attitudes.
The Spanish brought in slaves. The descendants contribute to Panama's Afro-Caribbean culture.
So this square has been named after him, Bolivar Square. Bolivar Square.
Here, the Hanover group walks through the French Plaza, built in homage to the first group that tried to build a canal, the French.
Ferdinand de Lesseps was a French man who was leading the French company when they were trying to build the canal here during the 19th century.
The United States took advantage of France's misfortune and signed an agreement with France to hand over the rights to the canal.
And they all got mixed. Most of the workers, they came from the West Indies, but we have people from every single continent.
Construction of the canal began in 1904, and the first ship sailed in 1914 with the help of Chinese workmen.
I think you slow it down again. Don't like crash the boat.
It was cool to see the water flood in and then see the boat coming through, because of course it shortens their trip by 21 and a half days.
Walls
little bit of what has been happening in history around this place.
In America, graffiti is kind of seen as like a bad thing or like a nuisance or something done by gangs or something or youth in revolt. But there it was a form of speech. It was a form of history even. They had things written on the walls that, you know, we learned about in class.
After decades following the completion of the canal, Panamanians became frustrated with the lack of control.
So on 9th of January of 1964, we had an event that sadly took the lives of some students that they demonstrated, and that's why we call this road the Martyrs Road, and they were the ones who became the martyrs.
It's still a memorial for them, even though it's not like an actual statue or something put up by the government. Like the whole Martyrs Road, it's a memorial to the people that stood up for their national pride.
Although Panama has been colonized, it has brought in multiple cultures, helped businesses trade around the world, and kept its heritage. This cultural identity can be found within the jewelry, art, and cuisine of the town.